I think that we're hand. I was like, whoa. Oh no, that's what I sound like. Okay, great. I'm gonna hide this then since you are monitoring the chat. Okay, welcome work group. Hi, Abby. You came just on time.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, so I'm gonna try. We have a lot to go through today. This is kind of orientation, group one meeting. We have some big plans and it's going to be so great. I'm so excited to do this. So thanks everyone for joining our work group. I would like to just take a second and just have everybody introduce themselves because there are a few new people and I don't think everyone knows each other anyway. So let's start with the people who are in person. Let's start on this side. Abby, can you just say your name, what organization you're with, or like why you're interested in doing this work?
I'm Abby Palmer. I work for Utah County Health Department and it's a VACO program, and I work with Outrage, which is our youth advocacy group. So interested, we want to go out to school and all that. So yeah. Great. I'm Gabby Mirza. I work with U.S. Youth Extension's HEART Initiative, which is a long acronym, but basically we address, through our efforts, we address opioid overdose prevention. And I'm also with the Drug Prevention Coalition. I'm sharing that coalition. So why I'm here, my predecessor helped put the first toolkit together, I believe. And this is still under, I mean, it's also confused no matter what. And anyway, youth education, prevention, good stuff.
Marin's great. We miss Marin, but we're really glad that you're here. So okay, Marissa.
I'm Clarissa Stebbing. I'm a prevention specialist with the State Board of Education, and I'm primarily responsible for substance use prevention and intervention. And I am really excited to have been invited to participate in this because I still hear every now and then schools that are not using best practices in their prevention efforts. And so I want to do what I can to really help push this information out to as many schools as possible.
I'm Garrett Dutson. I work with the Utah County Sheriff's Office. I have been a school resource officer on and off through my career at the Sheriff's Office from 2014 to current. I've been doing red ribbon assemblies for the school, mainly to show them the tools we use to help crack down on drug usage, but also the consequences if you use them on that. The last because there's always something new that we want to share with the kids and educate them with. And I've had a lot of PTA presidents reach out and say, what do we do for everything? So I think this is a great resource fund.
Garrett, you got to make a shout out on the chat.
Have to do what?
You got a major shout out. Karen,
Here, I'll pull it up. Yay, Garrett! Yay!
Hey, I'm Rebecca Andresen. I work in student services at Alpine School District, primarily in the prevention realm of all things prevention. Yeah, excited to be able to do the same out of our PTA and the district. Use best practice. I'm Jessica Maxwell. I'm the Vineyard Community Care Coordinator, and we have 4 elementary schools in our little town. So I'm hoping to kind of get into schools and see what we can do to help. Hi, I'm Megan. I work here at Utah County Health Department. I just moved over from the tobacco team to work on substance use prevention with Kevin and Cal. And I'll be coordinating the EASY program, which is alcohol complaint checks for the county. And I'm Sarah Calloway, and I'm well represented here.
And great. Yeah, I love it.
I'm also here because to represent parents' perspective, and as a parent, I have worked on several schools on the so.
Marla Branham, also with Utah County. This time injury prevention though, and part of what I do is our Safest Coalition with preventing injuries from 0 to 19. We frequently get calls for Red Ribbon Week, so I love this toolkit to be able to share better ideas.
It is nice. Yes.
I'm Chelsea McDonald and I run the CCC, so I have two reasons for this here. One is that because we're getting up and running and haven't done coalition work before this particular job, and it's like, oh, how does a work group work? I should probably know before I start like running my own work group. So like, that's
First
just
snacks.
first
Done.
Feed them, they will come.
Feed them, they will come. Yes. Well, anyway, I want to participate in a work group, and this one I was most interested in because of, my background is working with schools, and I just have kind of a personal life philosophy of being intentional about things, and since rather than being kids, really be more intentional with the idea of a red ribbon, is actually like doing things that have impact, then I would like to help to just improve it, make it better, and really update it so that it can be in better tools. Excellent. Very cool. Well, I'm Heather Lewis. Everybody knows me, but I'm the prevention coordinator for Utah County and was on the first committee when we did the first one, and it was so awesome to have such awesome representation from so many different agencies. But this time we had even more people, so that this is really, really cool. I'm very excited. Thanks for coming and being able to support this. Really appreciate it.
So I'm Lauren Shomwell. I'm the prevention specialist for Provo School District. And I was originally on the original work group. So, and I used to be a coordinator.
Great. Thanks. Okay. Online, Karen, can I have you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Karen Nielsen. I'm the Communities That Care Coordinator for Eagle Mountain and Saratoga Springs. And we miss Garrett, and I'll go to the next meeting in person just so I can be like, hey, Garrett. And I'm here because I love nothing more than a group project.
Many people can say that.
Yeah, not everyone can. Okay, who else do we have? Jamie. Oh, Jamie, you're muted.
Says I'm not. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
now you're, yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. I'm the CPC coordinator for Linden City. We are new, up and running. Well, we're crawling, up and crawling. And I'm here because, yeah, I'm up and crawling, learning things on the prevention side, but also because I've been a PTA president and I've served on SCCs and I have 5 kids in 6 different schools. Yeah, figure that math out. But I just really want to be a part of safe messaging and content for what we give our kids. So.
Awesome. Okay, thanks everyone. I guess I'll introduce myself too. I assume everyone knows me. I guess I don't know Clarissa. My name is Mikkel. I work with Heather and Megan on the substance use prevention team for the county health department. And I also am on the Utah Valley Drug Prevention Coalition as the public relations chair. Nancy Alicia is the new coalition coordinator. So, ooh, Nancy, she's actually going to make it. So she'll be here a little bit late. But yeah, she chairs the coalition. In this work group is kind of a branch off of the coalition. Most people here are all part of the coalition. If you're not, you are welcome to join the coalition. And I guess that's probably no pressure, but here's your pressure. But yeah, no, if you don't have time, it's fine. But yeah, we're all part of the coalition. And yeah, just thanks everyone for being involved in this work. The last time we did this, if anybody remembers Melise Warner, she headed up the first Red Ribbon Week toolkit. So she gets all the credit. We love her and miss her. She just transferred jobs. She did not die. So she's gone off to new adventures, and we were reassessing this toolkit last year. And I got a lot of feedback from many people about wanting to update it and wanting to just add more content. And it's been about, what, 4 years since we had last updated it. If you had a chance to look at the toolkit that we currently have, it has a list of the organizations who are a part of it. I tried to add everyone who was a part of all those organizations, plus some. So if there is someone that you think would be really good on this work group that isn't represented, let me know and I can add them to the email list. Just kind of sticking to our agenda, I'm gonna go over a few, I know we're all adults, but I'm just gonna go over a few group rules. Then I'll do a more in-depth overview of the kit that we currently have in use. We'll do a little bit of a prevention science activity. And then I think it would be good for our group to kind of set out a timeline of when we want this to be done, what we want this to look like, maybe find a common purpose, and then next steps for like next meetings, and if we want them in person or Zoom. Okay, group rules. Again, we're all adults, but I feel like we have a lot of different perspectives in here. This is a bigger work group. Usually work groups are like under 10 people or like 10 and under. So this is a really big work group and it's really exciting because we have a lot of diverse perspectives. So just first, assuming positive intent, if you can silence your phones, please do, so that's not distracting to other people. Or if you need to take a call, please take a call, or please take your call and do whatever you need to do. The bathrooms are down the hall on the left. Welcome, Nicole. There's a chair right here, front row. I think Nancy's coming with you, so maybe I'll pull up another. Thanks, Chelsea. Let's put her next to me. Well, front and center. That's what she gets for being late. Oh yeah, definitely. I think she's the only other person coming, and we're good. Cool. Heather only bites sometimes. Okay. All right. So the third, just respecting all perspectives and ideas, and most importantly for me, starting and ending on time. We all have other jobs besides this, and so we want to be respectful of everyone's time constraints.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Nicole, do you want to introduce yourself? You're totally fine.
Sure, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Nicole Hinton and I work for PG Cares as a coordinator.
I wasn't trying to call you out in any way.
Okay, I can take it.
If people were less like Nicole and on, I'm just kidding. No, so yeah, we just valuing all perspectives. Some people have more prevention science knowledge than others, and so I wanted to take this first work meeting and really delve into what the science is so that we're all on the same page. And so when we're adding or taking things away from the toolkit, I want to make sure that it's coming from a place of prevention science. This is bless you. Those are the quietest sneezes I've ever heard. So the purpose of this group, thank you, Marla. I kind of did this before, but we can add and take away of it. I was thinking the purpose of this work group was to make revisions and adjustments to our current Red Ribbon Week toolkit, tongue twister for sure, with a goal to finish by a date that we set at the end. The purpose of the Red Ribbon Week toolkit is for anyone who would like to incorporate prevention science into their school, family, community, or Red Ribbon Week activities. Does anyone want to add anything to that, to our purpose? Okay,
Quick question from me.
Yes.
Usually
Jamie.
there's a national week or month for these types of things. Do we know when that is, just to make sure that we get ahead of when most schools and PTAs will be planning this?
Yes, it's usually October.
Okay.
I had put the tentative date as August. I think that if we got it finished in August, that would give us time to like push it out and give
Okay.
our PTA people or anybody who wanted to implement the activities during that time to prep.
Okay,
And
great.
they've got the team up already. I'm looking at the most.
Okay, yes, and they have
White
their
Crew
theme.
is the big first.
Oh, thank you, Marla. Yeah, we'll put it. Does anyone want to take some notes for our meeting? Sorry, Heather.
I'll take notes.
Heather, can you take notes?
I know.
Also, what
I
is
have
your
a question.
comments? Yeah, question.
Well, when is you had something coming up?
Yeah, we do have a school counseling and prevention summit that the State Board of Education is hosting. It's June 12th and 13th. So I don't know if,
Just saying, anything coming up, right?
I'm not
Let's put
gonna
it-
promote it there. If you think that's not too ambitious.
Let's write the dates down and let's talk about it.
It's not done, so then they know.
Everyone
knows coming in Red Room.
That's what I was thinking, like the QR code will be the same. It will be the same QR code, I think. So I think we'll probably direct people to the website and then there's a link to the actual toolkit on the website. So
It's not always easy to find that stuff, but I'll find it. Cause I
We're-
have to do a search for it.
we'll have the toolkit. Also, I figured out how to put it under a tab. I put the free classes. We're good. Can you make a note of that, Heather, for me to put the Red Ribbon Week toolkit under the parent tab? I will understand what that means.
Last time, there was like a PTA convention that they also shared it at. Do we know when that is?
Do we know when the PTA conventions are?
I thought that was, there was one in May. There's something in May.
That's what we're going to see. The vendor convention, there is a 2023 convention. May 10th through the 11th.
Okay, let's put that down as well. For promoting, maybe we can reach out to people and figure out a way to
I
infiltrate
do
the
have the reason
system.
9.
You have a what?
It's May 10th and 11th. Did we get that date?
Yes, May 10th and 11th for the PTA convention. Thanks, Jamie.
But they usually have a convention at the
That's
beginning.
convention.
Okay,
Like to kick off everything.
okay, got that, Heather? Well, we
I don't
will
know what
look.
the date of that one is.
I was gonna say, if you can find the date, let's put these dates down, and if we want to start promoting it at these different events, we can do that. And if we want to promote as early as May, maybe we're gonna break out into groups, we can figure out what we're gonna do as far as promotion goes. Okay, let's continue on. I just wanted to show everybody hopefully online people, let me know if you can still see the screen. So this is the website that it goes to. So it's hosted by the Utah Valley Drug Prevention Coalition, and it's under their parent. I can put it under a parent tab here. This was our original toolkit. The toolkit link itself is right here. So we might redo it. We might just have people come to the website. I feel like that might be easier.
We'll direct them to the website.
It will be, yeah, exactly. And it will be easier to track how many views it gets that way. And that was the problem last time when they were asking like the reach. It was hard to get the reach of the toolkit because it would go straight to Bitly. So
That'll be key, because trying to
Yes.
find stuff sometimes on the website is
Yes.
not easy. I'll be honest.
oh, no, it's great feedback to get. Okay, so last time we created this kit, we were trying to gear it towards parents or anybody who was using the kit. So it's like, why use this kit? We had a little bit of a history of Red Ribbon Week. If you aren't familiar with the history, I encourage you to look it up. We won't look it up right now because we're kind of tight on time. Hi, Nancy. Welcome, our coalition coordinator. Woo! Okay, and then it goes through a little bit of prevention science and why this kit came around, and we went through what works and what doesn't work. And then at the very end of the kit, here, I'll just click on the kit so we can see what it looks like on the inside. Okay, so we had our partners here. I will eventually, if your organization isn't already listed, I'm going to be asking for like logos and stuff. So, all right, so that's kind of how we had separated it. A lot of the stuff online is the same thing in the kit. And so there are also instructions for implementation. There was a parent handout. Some schools wanted to incorporate it with families and parents. And so they had a parent handout that people can print directly from here and add it. And then the categories that we had separated, and again, we don't have to do it exactly how we did before. We can change it up however we need to. I'm just going to tell you our reasoning. And if anybody was in the original group, you can also talk about why things were done the way that they were, because I forget a little bit. We separated them out into the 4 categories because that's how our SHARP data is separated into 4 different categories. So you have your family, individual, school, community, and community domains. Yes. Okay. Just making sure I got all of them. Yeah. Those were the 4 domains. And so our categories were kind of split into that way. Whereas we wanted there to be activities in more than just schools. We wanted the family to be able to implement activities during that time, the community, individual, as well as the school in the school domains. I think community, we ended up combining community and school domains because a lot of them were very similar in implementation. Then we have a resources section, partnerships, and contact. The way that I'm suggesting that maybe we can do it, and if anybody has any other ideas, that's great. I'm thinking that what we will do after this meeting is split people into groups, and the first group, maybe 5 groups, and the first group will take over this, we'll kind of go over this area, decide what to add, what to take away, and then each of the other groups are going to take one of the 4 categories.
Just one note for that you connected combining community connection.
Yes.
You're well aware on the sharp side, it shows lack of connections, lack of evaluation.
Yes.
And the current has just pro-social environment or the links to pro-social involvement, doesn't have anything to value in school or connection to school. I'm looking through,
Okay.
I'm looking through all where the prevention, prevention relation. So
is that SHARP that you're looking at?
No, I'm looking at the toolkit.
Oh, the
right
toolkit.
now,
Okay.
And I'm
Yeah.
looking at all the ones that what the prevention relation is. There's not one that goes for connection to school.
So that's something good to keep in mind. So I would put a note in that. And if you want to be in that group, make a note of that.
Just a little food for thought.
Yes. I think what we'll do later, so we're not going to go through the kit today. I kind of want the individual groups to go through it because it's kind of overwhelming to go through the entire kit and do it that way. And so we'll probably do it splitting by groups and looking over those kind of nitty-gritty things. All right, let's go back to our PowerPoint if I can. Oh man, how do I even? There we go. We're gonna do it this way. Okay. So I just really quickly, I'm not gonna go in depth into this, and I brought these to pass out. There are levels of evidence-based practices. And the one that I like to look at the most is this pyramid. Essentially, in a nutshell, and you can read this, I felt like it was kind of helpful in explaining the difference between evidence-based, effective, promising programs and emerging programs. When we're talking about prevention science, our goal for this group, we don't want to do any harm. And so anything that we add to the toolkit, we want to make sure that it is in this light blue category. So we want to make sure we're taking from different models, things that are at least promising programs, effective, or evidence-based. Anything below that, it usually means that it's unsupported, it's ineffective to no effect, it might be harmful. Also, it probably wasn't studied. There weren't any studies to prove that doing this will help do this. Does that make sense? So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page there. So whatever we're adding to the kit, we want to make sure it's in that light blue area. Okay, so After that, after you're gonna read that, that is your homework assignment is to read through that document. But what exactly are we adding to the kit and what does it look like? So this is a prevention science activity. We're gonna do this together and I've never done this before, so here we go. So who had a chance to look through this toolkit before this meeting? Okay, great, okay. Wow, that was a lot more people than I expected. This will be a really easy group project for you then. So what we're going to do, I want it to give us an opportunity to read through what works and what doesn't work in our groups. And I want us to have a really good understanding of what that looks like. Are there enough stand-ups? Okay. So what we're gonna do, we're going to give an opportunity to teach each other. One group is going to be what works, and one group is going to be what doesn't work. I'll probably number you off. Let's pass, Murphy, do you want to help me pass these out really fast? And you can keep these as well. And you can make any notes you want. I did grab highlighters and pens if you need those. Oh my God, so love it. Great. Okay.
I know. Your office is kind of different color.
Okay. So before we go into our group activity and I explain what we're doing, I just want to read. I know this is a little bit dry, but I want to read the first introduction paragraph because this is what we're all about. Knowing what works in prevention and what doesn't is vital to keeping young people from developing serious and lifelong issues with addiction, as alcohol and other drug abuse or misuse remain the problem behaviors contributing to the most serious problems facing our communities today. In fact, the National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse estimates that the U.S. spends more than $500 billion each year responding to consequences of substance abuse and addiction. In Washington state, our share of the cost exceeds more than $5 billion annually. It is a problem that strains our healthcare, social services, education, and justice systems, and one that takes an immeasurable emotional and financial toll on families. It goes on to talk about how prevention has come around. We've made some mistakes in prevention, and a lot of those things are still going on now. And a lot of it's just that people don't have the education or the skills or the tools. And so the purpose of this toolkit is to give people those skills and to give people the education without having them have to do all the research on their own, because people are busy, parents are busy, and parents are one of our #1 supporters of Red Ribbon Week. So we want to give them some evidence-based tools to use. So I'm going to split you into two groups. And the first group, what works, I'm going to have you read through pages 2 through, let's see, is it 6? Yeah, 2 through 6. And if you are in the what doesn't work, you are going to be pages 7 through 11. I'm going to number you off. The first group is going to be what works. Group 2 is going to be what doesn't work. So 1, I want to do what? You want to do what doesn't work? Just skip over 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Maybe I'll be in 2. I'll probably put the online people in what works group. Okay, so I'm going to give you 5 minutes to kind of look through it on your own. And then for 10 minutes, I'm going to have you get with your group. And I want you guys to kind of bullet point, kind of do a fast track. What's the most important information that you pulled out of your sections and why? So putting in short sentences, what works and why does it work? Or what doesn't work and why? and I have markers over there. I'm actually going to give you 3 minutes to kind of look through this and then get into your groups, starting now. Okay. All right, I know that that wasn't very long to read through. Hopefully we have some fast readers in here. I'm not one of them. Okay, I want you to get into your groups on either side and just pull out the things that stood out to you. We're going to be teaching each other. So I would pull out the things that you feel like we all need to know and write them on your list. And then at the very end, designate a spokesperson so that we can learn from each other. Do we feel good about that? Ready, team, go. You can take or push the table. I don't know if you want to like come around. Either way. Orient it however you feel like you're going to. They don't.
Yes, perfect.
Yes, okay, people online. I'm going to move you with, I'm gonna see how this works. Hold on.
Figuring out what doesn't work. Basically, I'm like skimming like, so I was under a sketch.
Okay, people online, can you still hear me?
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, can you say something again?
We can hear you.
Okay, great. Now I can hear you. Okay, I'm gonna put you over here with the what works group?
Okay.
And then, what? Could you turn up their volume?
Yes, yes.
So I'm trying to figure out what the crazy was basically talking about the guides that with effective principle, right? So, they're basically, well, I guess it's right. Not unfocused. Effective, I don't know, they mostly just refer to some as effective principles that you use for your innovative programs. You're gonna design your own thing, then at least making sure that you can use the effective principle from one of these guides.
Or that also is like, that's also similar to evidence-based, any innovation.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
so with evidence-based, I was thinking programs, like in the registries, which is different than what I was talking about.
You can have evidence-based data, you can have evidence-based. Now, and those schools are like controlled, that it doesn't have to be.
Because they're already like.
I thought this part was interesting, like, cite immediate consequences, because that's why, like, our crashes and stuff don't work.
Yeah.
They gotta find this thing on healthy behavior. And also. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
In the What Works group?
Now we can, yeah.
I was just looking at the What Works stuff, and what stood out to me most is most prevention practices aren't specifically related to drugs.
Yeah.
When we think of Red Ribbon Week, it's always like, don't do drugs. But most effective prevention has more to do with relationships, social skills, connection, things like that, versus actually even having to say the word drugs.
Yeah.
Well, you look at all these lists and all these things, but exactly what she said, study habits, communication, peer relationships, self-sufficiency.
Thanks, Karen, we got it.
Reinforcing anti-drug attitudes.
Summary is really good.
Yeah, like the summary is the second.
I know, I feel like even that part not gotten.
But even if, maybe involving, there's even a part about involving families, so whether it's a parent or caregiver or somebody.
Do you
want me to write?
Yeah, connections, yeah, it's, but it goes to connections and bonding for social skills.
I think connections probably.
Yeah.
Would be. Don't you think? Either connection to self, connection to community, or connection to family. Those are the three main. If you write connection on there in big letters, I think.
What did you say? Self, family, community?
I think another part of it is the skill building, so giving them opportunities to practice and interact and gain confidence, I guess, also, so skill building.
Okay. I don't have room to write skill building. What do you want me to do?
We need to fit it in
You
there.
want me to write it up this side?
Yeah, please, there. I can just, I can do another one.
That's okay. I'll do it, yeah. Okay, so now we need to fill in why. Yeah.
What I love about it. Things have been studied and been shown to be effective.
Yeah.
It's
This evidence-based is all the why, don't you think?
I think there's, yeah.
Well, it also works because it
Improves. I was just gonna show you. Oh, is it backwards?
No, we're just seeing it. They'll see it fine.
That's what we have so far, ladies.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, a lot of, I mean, the foundation of this, or kind of the basis of this
not even evidence-based, just in general, because it's been tested and proven it works in various situations and environments and with, you know, maybe it doesn't work like, it can work with for various groups or whoever it was tested with, but in general, learning how to connect.
Everyone, 2 more minutes. Okay,
You know, relationships and connections and communication, those are all kind of foundational skills to help build things like self-confidence, esteem.
Foundational skills.
Yeah, a lot of these things are just foundational skills that could be used in a variety of situations. Because whether it's this or it's, you know,
They also,
any other substance or any other kind of challenging thing in their life,
situation.
all of these are skills that can be used.
It's gonna help them realize that they're the ones that get to make that choice.
Yeah.
It's up to them.
right. It's hearing the voice. My parents told me not to, you're gonna hear.
Yeah.
I am choosing not to because I have connections. Right? Or my teacher, or my peers. Anything else?
I think builds resiliency. Yeah, in general, definitely. Builds those resiliency skills.
Now, what did you say?
Yeah, let's reduce people why it's an opposite.
Yeah, I know, this is like legit. That else is better than what I got for Staples. Yeah, and it does say here, so yeah, so interventions, they help enhance individual capacities, influence attitudes, promotes behavior inconsistent with use, and so back to that skill building and stuff, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those kept.
Okay.
That's great. Where do you send them? You know, and you're going to.
Oh, there is another one in here, effective, they involve peers. Yeah. So yeah, put under site immediate, concept. They involve peers in the planning and even maybe the implementation of it.
Okay, wrap up your discussion. And I would, if you would take somebody with your. Or multiple people can speak to.
Someone more. Or maybe you've got over this next.
Is there anything that you want to share?
Let's see what they did. I'll make them go first, maybe. Or maybe I'll make you guys go first. That way they're not missing any of the information. For those guys.
Yeah.
I don't think the taxi driver all the people, they can walk in there, that's entertaining, but I like being.
Iris drivers don't ever think that. They're always saying, man, I wish I could part of it. I don't know why. And then it's like, anyway, do I?
Okay, let's. Okay, who want to go first?
No, those guys.
They're one. Okay, group one. Do you want to go first? Do you have a spokesperson? You guys can all be spokespersons.
That's all. We can all make one, how about that? Okay, so a couple of things that we kind of went around and found that stuff that spoke to us at least that jumped out or was kind of consistent among the various, like the different groups and things that they were talking about. So we're talking about what works, you have that social emotional learning, the SELs, but really looking at that connection, building relationships, how to control emotions, you know, things like that, how to build social networks. Evidence-based, even though it's number 2, that kind of should have been number 1. But any, evidence-based, programming and evidence-based, things that work. We have skill building, citing immediate consequences. So some of the things that came out specifically were using immediate consequences rather than looking at things that can happen long-term. That tends to resonate more, with the younger folk. Peer
Can you-
involvement.
Can you give an example of what that,
Citing immediate consequences.
what's an immediate consequence?
So like maybe my clothes will smell bad, like your clothes will smell bad, your friends won't wanna hang out with you, well, I don't. Let's just stop at your clothes will smell bad, rather than being like, later on, you might get into an accident, you might develop, your teeth might fall out, or you might, something later on in the future that they may not see for themselves, be able to foresee.
Like bad breath.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have, peer involvement, so involving peers in the planning, even the implementation of, a program or an activity or something, involving that, component in there. Focusing on healthy behavior, so teaching them about healthy behaviors kind of goes against the whole, or the opposite of that fear mongering, or that using those fear and scare tactics, or like the negative side of things, because for some youth that might be kind of attracting, like, oh yeah, really, that's cool, like, well, wobble around or whatever, I don't know. But anyway, focusing on healthy behaviors, and then not specifically saying drugs. So one of the things that we kind of caught from all of these being the behaviors that this is really promoting, again, the connections, the relationships, resiliency building, all of those, there's skills that you can help instill and teach in youth. And you don't necessarily have to use the words drugs or substances in there, or at least what we saw in the kid. These are things that these are skills that can be applied in any situation or with any sort of program. And then one of the big things with the little cap whiskers we put here was connection. Having that building, and maintaining that connection, between the self, the family, and the community. So those are some of the things that kind of stood out to us. And does anybody else want to talk about why, or do you want us to cover the why?
Yes.
Okay, does anybody, I'm done.
Okay, so when we talked about why, we talked about, well, it's evidence-based and it's been tested and proven. And it works for various groups, so it doesn't have to be just one specific group. It also is a foundational skill, so there are things that they're gonna wanna know when they're older anyways. And then it helps them realize it's up to them, it's not up to the parents, it's not to the teacher, that they get that self, the autonomy of knowing that they can make a decision for themselves, and it builds resiliency. So those were the whys, and kind of like what she was saying is, prevention, learning one thing in one domain can touch all other domains. So even though it may be social emotional learning, it's gonna affect other things, because that's just how it works.
I love it. Good job. Round of applause. Okay, what doesn't work?
What doesn't work, guys, listen up. This is why Heather wanted to do this one. This skinny, no, scare tactics don't work.
Nikayla, we can't see or hear you all of a sudden. Can anybody hear us? We can't see. Oh,
Can you hear now?
okay, now you're back. Yeah, thanks.
Sorry.
Okay, so like a one-time assembly, those don't work. Beer goggles, any kind of visuals that make you feel like you're inebriated or whatever. Not car crashings don't work. First, I feel like we should be going.
You can, I was gonna say, you can go across if
Okay,
it has
so
specific.
the scare tactics don't work because the kids, if they can prove you wrong, then you're wrong and they won't believe anything you say. So you have completely discredited yourself 100%.
So don't tell them something that isn't true if you can't prove it, you can't back it up. And then, if it's a call to their morality, it might shoot you in the foot. You might call them out and they're going totally some way that you never imagined that they would go anyway, or they're, you know,
They're trying to find their own identity, and so they're choosing different pathways. So morality doesn't more always work, because they're choosing alternatives.
right, the thing that you think they're gonna do, it's not necessarily what they're going to do, and so trying to please that part of them isn't, not gonna work. The one time, the assemblies and things like that, well, and going on with like the not car crashes, it could potentially re-traumatize if it's something that was, you know, catastrophic or whatever, it could re-traumatize a kid if that was something that they've gone through, it could be very triggering. And more than that, it doesn't give them, like, you have to have a skill and a behavior to implement when you give a kid something to do differently. Like, okay, here's this intervention, but now you have to do this with it. You need to change your behavior to go with it. And there isn't any behavior change, no, it's going to be just fear. It's just the emotional arousal. Oh yeah, and I love it anyway. It never happened to me. I love it all. I'm really safe. The personal stories, like people in recovery, if a person in recovery gets up there and says, you know, I went through hell and back, and look at me, here I am, it was awful, but I made it. And the kids are like, did it, I can too, I can make it through that, I'm gonna go try. So don't tell them that it works for people who are in recovery, who've already been there, but not for the ones who haven't been there yet. So it's gonna teach them that they can go there and make it through. And not that we're saying you can't, we just don't want to encourage them to try to go down that road. Just don't get started. Putting out like higher risk kids in the same group with lower risk kids doesn't work, and it's a bad idea. Totally frowned upon, because your high risk kids teach your low risk kids how to be high risk kids.
Well, and you're combined at risk. Any at risk kids, because that's what we're talking about, not just low risk kids, but having at risk kids in general, whether they're really high.
But sometimes you're gonna have at risk kids anyways, but just trying to keep them, if they're
with everybody,
keeping them with their same.
So what kind of situation would that occur in?
Like,
what does that
for
mean?
example, like PRI, like we have a class that we would teach called PRI, and the people who are referred to a PRI class, the kids who are referred to PRI, were supposed to be like very, very first levels of engagement of use, okay?
I see.
Versus someone who is almost needing a diagnosis, like someone who's needing treatment. So they're gonna be like, well, anyway, it just teaches, it's like my daughter went to treatment, she was an alcoholic, and she went to treatment and learned how to shoot heroin, she learned how to, you know, all these other things that she had no idea what that looked like before she went to treatment.
I see. And it says, the way it says it in here is that grouping the at-risk youth together in early adolescence may inadvertently reinforce problem behavior and teach them new habits.
Especially when it's different age groups.
Yeah.
We see that in our peer.
They look up to the older kids, oh,
You're so cool and you're doing this.
yeah.
So it's the opposite of peer involvement. It's almost like.
When you're looking at their
Yeah.
behavior and you're trying to change the negative behaviors, yeah, you don't want to
Put them all together because it just reinforces.
Well, that has to do more with the planning. Right, well, I mean, that's more like them being engaged.
Myth busting, so anytime you have a sheet that's like, well, you know,
This is the common belief, but here's the truth.
the kids are gonna remember the myth. For some, your brain just automatically remembers the myth as the truth. It's like your brain just goes to the thing that is the most powerful and puts that in there as the truth. And so it doesn't, it's like a weird effect, but so myth busting is not good. I'm not in busting. It's drug fact sheets, like if you have a sheet that has all these different pills, then, you know, it's got Adderall, and Adderall can help you lose weight, or, you know, people have lost weight on it, well, then a teenage girl can go, oh my gosh, Adderall helps you lose weight. Well, I know a girl who takes Adderall, maybe I'll try one and see if it helps me.
We can help you focus for your ACT.
It doesn't, it gives them ideas about how to use, it doesn't teach them not to use, it just sparks their interest. Exaggerated social norms, like, you know, 100% of the kids are in trouble, so you better watch out, you're in trouble too. Obviously, if you're telling them that everybody's doing this way, they're going to do that because that's what everybody's doing. They think it's okay, it's acceptable.
Can I just add a comment onto that as well? I feel like as health educators, we do need to be careful because here in Utah, our substance use rates are actually very low. And so the way that we talk about it with youth, we don't want them to think that everyone is using. And the Sharp survey actually shows that perception, their perception of people using is like, yeah, it was like, they thought it was like in the 20% when really it's like under 10%.
And then obviously that goes with most, antisocial behaviors. You know, if you do the same thing even though our suicide rates are high, same thing, you know, it's like people think, all we do is we have real high risk of youth. That's not true. We have higher risk for adults.
Right.
But you've got it for alcohol, for any substance, for any antisocial behavior. Don't normalize it.
Yeah, and it undermines perhaps normal healthy response. If the kids think, oh, everybody's doing that, I didn't think it was that good of an idea, but if everybody's doing it, maybe they're right there. So it goes against their own.
So this is the role play was last one, well, we don't. That was the role play was on there, if I remember, for anybody else, because it's got to be focused role play. Because role playing positive behavior is good, but we don't want to put one of the students practicing in the role of like a drug dealer or something like that. We want them to practice, you know, the skills, just not in inappropriate way.
Positive social.
Jamie, can you explain your question?
Well, I'm getting pieces of the conversation, but it seems like we were kind of excusing our numbers because the discrepancies between perceptions and actual are really big, but aren't we still concerned about the kids' perception? Don't they tend to use more often or easily if they perceive that it's highly accepted in the community?
Yes. Yes, we are concerned about perception. So the way that we talk about it, we don't want, so since there are actually low rates of substance use, we want to be honest and clear about the fact that there are low rates. We don't want to be like, oh, all the kids are vaping, like everyone's vaping. We need to reduce the amount of vaping because everyone's doing it. We want to be clear that most don't use of that. It's like of the people who use, like, let's stop vaping altogether kind of thing. Like we are targeting perceptions, but we need to be honest. Does that make sense?
And you don't want to make a crisis when there isn't a crisis.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to make a crisis. Yeah.
We want them to perceive it as more harmful, not as more used.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
What was that comment?
Good.
We don't want to see it as more used, we want it to seem more harmful.
We want to change their perception that the using of alternative substances is negative. We don't want their perception to be that everybody uses.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think sharing messages of that so many students in Utah, this is how many are using is actually really, it's a positive way of showing that we still do have a problem, but not as thanks. I feel like, especially with the kids leading out and having a school voice as much as possible is something we kind of fall short on. And I know that some schools use their Red Ribbon Week / Hope Week / Sources of Strength campaign to integrate to try to work together at least or merge those type of events. And I think that it's really important that they know that sad, shock, and trauma is not, we know evidence-based, but hope, help, and strength is where we need to focus. So how are the students that are avoiding these behaviors, how are they avoiding these behaviors? Not so much the why are they, but how are they? So I think that's what we want.
Yes, thank you.
What did you say? Hope, what, and strength?
Hope, help, and strength.
I love that. I hope that that was helpful. I want to make sure that we're already 2 minutes over, but thank you everyone for participating in that activity. I hope that it was helpful to talk a little bit about what works and what doesn't, so that we're all on the same page. Last but not least, so I'm thinking that maybe when we send out the notes, we will propose a timeline. Do we feel like we could, the thing that I think that we could promote early, like we could promote a link early. I don't know if the content, it just depends on how much people can devote to this as far as getting everything submitted. So I was thinking for this first month, we could divide into groups and we could look over the material. In April, we could provide content. We could either suggest things to take out, to put in, and then May, I'm thinking we trade sections and we review each other's sections. And then June, I'm hoping we can work to make it a little bit more cohesive.
Michelle, even with promoting it early, I don't think it's a problem because the toolkit is good.
Yes.
It just could be better. And
Okay.
so even if we promote it, let them know, hey, we're working on it. We expect all the changes to be up in August, but you can still use what's there. So I don't think that that's a bad thing that we still.
So we're
promote
okay
it.
with that?
Yeah, especially
Okay.
if the update is gonna be at the same link, then.
Yeah.
Just let them know after this point, you can look at that too.
Okay. So are we good with this tentative timeline for now? Okay. The other thing is that since we're based in the health department, we also need to get it approved. And I know some organizations as well need to get their content, if it has their logo on it, it needs to be approved ahead of time before we promote it. So I want to give organizations time to review the toolkit before we promote it publicly. Okay, really fast. Actually, do we want to do this over email? I think I'll do it that way. I will create a Google Doc or a Google forum where you can select the group that you want to be a part of, that you want to review. I sent the toolkit out to everyone. Does anyone have a preference of whether we meet in person or over Zoom?
It's better if we meet in person.
I prefer in person as well.
Yeah.
Okay, I will
I'm
also
totally
send.
Good with in person. My transmission went out in my car last night, so I don't have one.
Oh.
But usually I'm an in-person person.
Nicole says she would have picked you up.
I know. It's fine.
Okay, let's plan this then in person for next month. I will send out another doodle poll. I'm hoping maybe Thursdays might be a better day for people. I feel like we got a good group today, so I'm thinking maybe, what is this, the third Thursday of the month? Wait, second Thursday? First Thursday? What day is it? Second Thursday? What month is it? Okay, so I'll send out a doodle poll with times, and I think we're good then. We'll send out meeting notes. Thank you, everyone. We're excited to get going on this.
Yay. Thank you.
Everybody used to say that like 200. I'm like, I was trying to say that right before it gets. We were fine. It was right.
Does anyone need an extra of these for someone who wasn't here or?
No, we can do it.
Okay. You want to seal it?
I need a paper you guys do.
It was a premium. Michelle bought it. It is a premium. It is like a higher.
I really.
We're doing in-house printing now, so we got the higher quality so that we could.
Well, I really
Get away
don't
with
know how to do this, because I print like flyers and stuff, and I'm like, I would like this for a flyer over this for like.
Yeah.
Just know that your flyer will still just be. I know, I'm trying to say in all reality.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. We need our law enforcement represented here.
Friday, so.
Do you want to bring this in?
Yeah, that would be. Yeah. Like, when I first started, and then I actually left.
I don't know how to use that projector.